and welcome to Art Alive. This week we'll be talking about urban sketchers, presenting their work at Lark Lane Art Works gallery, and we'll take a look at Auto Italia's On Coping, a Reading for Liverpool exhibition at the Royal Standard. And first, let's meet with the people behind Liverpool Urban Sketch Crawl, presenting their first exhibition as part of the project Summer of Art in Action, Alex Carina and Paul Gattenby.
The Liverpool Urban Sketch Crawl is the first of a range of activities that we're running to encourage the community and local people to get involved. I think the Urban Sketch Club is fantastic for first-time sketchers, and today what we're doing is demonstrating that down Lark Lane during the day, because Lark Lane is more than just an art gallery. It's a community arts project as well, where we want to involve artists, local craftspeople, and also we're about keeping old crafts alive. There's about a dozen artists involved in artworks and about a dozen craftsmen. So we're ranging from the drawing to painting to a blacksmith to wood turning, wood carving, and other interesting sort of crafts, and we're giving people an opportunity to see how they're done and hopefully encourage people to participate and get involved in future. Summer in Action began about 4 years ago, where we held a range of demonstration, wood carvers, leather crafters, wood turners. We had a blacksmith then. We're extending that to activities that are more accessible, such as drawing and painting and sculpting and so on. It's about encouraging people to get involved in the arts and encouraging people to go into art galleries, demystifying, if you like, art galleries. People think that art galleries are a rarefied atmosphere that you wouldn't normally go in, but we're here in the middle of Lark Lane, and the footfall is great, and we like to think we're incredibly accessible because many of the people exhibiting here are local.
Urban sketching itself is an international phenomenon. It's been going on all over the world. It began in Seattle about 2005. Liverpool's quite new to the scene. We started about December last year, so we've only been going about 6 months. We go out on the first Saturday of every month. We go out drawing. It's sociable, it's inclusive, anyone can do it really. And we meet up once a month, we go out drawing. We celebrate the city really by drawing. And then we come back and we meet and we look at the drawings. This is our first exhibition. We got some pieces on the wall, as you can see, and it's been a great success. I'm delighted with how quickly it's taken off. It looked like fun. I was looking at urban sketching on the internet, and it just looked like good fun. And I thought, well, Liverpool should be represented. It is a beautiful city. We're quite lucky to live in such an attractive place, really. Fabulous architecture. Lots of quirky places as well. It's not just the big, iconic, famous tourist attraction type buildings. We did some great drawings about 2 weeks ago. We were down at the Stanley Dock drawing the Bascule Bridge and the old warehouses. And lots of us got some lovely drawings from those very kind of offbeat buildings, if you like. We do try to vary where we go. We meet in a different place each month, so we're not always drawing the same place. We usually meet in an independent coffee shop somewhere in Liverpool. Our next one is going to be in Moose on the 4th, is it the 4th? 1st of August, sorry. 1st of August in Moose on Dale Street. We usually try to choose a place where if the weather is bad, there's somewhere nearby where we could draw indoors, so you know we're close to the museums or the cathedrals, or the railway station or somewhere. It's open to anybody. Where you can be an experienced artist, a professional artist. You can be a complete beginner. We publicise on social media where we're going, so anyone who can access the media can see where we are. You'll always get a good warm welcome. Like I say, we meet in a cafe first, and we'll have a cup of coffee and we'll have a chat, and new people will be introduced, so you know people's names once you're there. So it's very much a community kind of enterprise. What we're doing today is a nice example. We're using the exhibition as a means of getting new people in. So there's maybe a dozen or so new sketches out there. Some have never really drawn before, and we've paired them up with the more experienced artists out on the lane, and that they're hopefully having an enjoyable time out there as we're chatting now. We don't give formal lessons or anything, but people come along, and people will always chip in with little bits of advice and help you along if anyone's in any doubt. There are occasional, I have done workshops in urban sketching before, and it's something I do occasionally. So that's certainly a possibility, yeah. There are 10 artists represented in this particular exhibition. Most of the work, or a lot of the work, is what we've actually done on location. You can usually tell if it's a drawing, it's probably been done on location. Some of the work has been taken back to the studio and worked into paintings. It's quite a nice variety if you take a look around the pieces on the wall. There are ink drawings, there are charcoal, there's watercolour. There are people who've taken them back and worked them up into oil paintings. There's 1 or 2 prints on show and so on. Come along and enjoy yourself. First Saturday in the month. We've got a Facebook page, Liverpool Urban Sketches, or my own blog, pgsculpture.wordpress.com. pgsculpture.wordpress, that's my own blog, and I always have all the dates of all our meetings there.
After the break on Arts Alive, we'll go to the Royal Standard for the exhibition On Coping, a Reading for Liverpool, that looks at new strategies and structures for artistic work and questions the place of the artist. Welcome back to Arts Alive. From Lark Lane, we now go to the Royal Standard, the artist-led gallery in Vauxhall, for the launch of an exhibition run by Auto Italia, a London-based collective of artists. On Coping, a Reading for Liverpool exhibition asks about the position of the artist and how creativity can be developed through new strategies. I met with Marion Forrest, who is currently running Auto Italia, and who told me more about the organisation and this exhibition.
We work really collaboratively, so we're always inviting other artists to take part in our projects, and they can range from sort of a small collection of artists working really intensely over a long period of time on something, which might be like a website or a performance project, or we've done things like live TV shows with a crew of over 50 artists working together to produce an hour-long TV show, so it can really vary.
And how do you choose the work? I mean, what's the selection process?
It all kind of comes out of the research we're doing in Auto Italia, and then we kind of work with the group of us on themes and questions and things we're interested in, and then we use that as a starting point and reach out to find people who we think would be interested in bringing into those conversations. So On Coping is a project that we've been working on at Auto Italia since the beginning of this year, actually end of last year. It's a project that grew out of kind of research to do with where artistic practice sits now, especially within places like London, where space is at such a premium that, you know, who can actually afford an artist's studio, what does it mean to be an artist, and maybe what are these other strategies that might be available to artists working today. And we've been interested in using different modes for thinking through ideas like tarot and astrology and things that might I don't know, fall in the sidelines of sort of accepted coping mechanisms, but maybe can have a lot of value and could be used in different ways. So we started the project off with a piece we did in Johannesburg, which is actually where we met Cuss, who are part of the show here, and that became a sort of street level billboard using the tropes of kind of real estate and advertising and luxury housing, but sort of turning that around and talking about some of those ideas about who can afford to be an artist and what does it mean to work in cities like London, big cities. And then we revisited it and developed it for an editorial in Sleep magazine for a film that we showed in Bologna. And then we really wanted to open it out and get a lot of other artists involved which is how this project started developing. And because we don't have a space in London at the moment, we're just in a studio, we don't have an exhibition space, we kind of thought, well, why do we need to be in London? We don't. And we've got ties with a lot of people working in Liverpool. It seemed a place like with a lot of potential, like it feels quite exciting, and like we could just go for it. So we teamed up with Lauren Bounds, who's assistant curator at Tate, and the guys at the Royal Standards, and worked to see what we could make happen. And this is, yeah, this is the result. We're quite interested in sort of this idea of like personal readings and like how to, I don't know, use the exhibition as a space to kind of like speak to the people coming and taking part in the workshops, and just being in the space and sort of like, it's not proposing an answer or a strategy or a like definitive thing, it's more about teasing out some of these different ways we can work or be as artists, and also like these coping structures. So we've been really interested in like bringing all the artists with us here, so like everyone's come up from London and from Johannesburg and from all over to be here and actually spend 3 days like working together and making work and talking about it, which is like really valuable and the kind of thing you don't often get time to do, especially in London. So another thing with the sort of like art craft and like a hobby versus your job is like, if you live in London and you're an artist, but maybe you have to have a full-time job doing something else to just afford to be there. So actually, when you do your art or your real work, it's like completely shoved aside for this really small bit of time that's so like outside of your day-to-day life. Is it almost more freeing to like try and claim it as a hobby or something? And it's, you know, like this weird tensions and slippage, which is what Jaakko was like exploring in his workshop, which is really nice. So the clay pieces that you see around were from a workshop with Jaakko called Hobby Point, and he was interested in kind of like what is this idea of like amateurism? Like, is it more interesting to be an amateur artist than a sort of professional artist? So we all came together to work with clay and make sculptures, and I think pretty much nobody in the group like does that as part of their practice. But can it be a kind of like therapeutic thing to come together and just make, but whilst also like having a discussion? So, you know, does it set an interesting environment to like actually talk about these critical ideas, but be making objects and making clay? And yeah, it was quite an interesting kind of like new way of thinking through things and also creating work very instantly without too much overthinking or like, yeah. As part of the Uncoping project, when we did the editorial in Sleep magazine, which is this kind of 16-page magazine story with images, we had a tarot reading done by Celia Moody for Auto Italia as an organisation, and kind of we asked to have a reading about our future, our creative future, and you know, it's like Auto Italia as an organisation has been running since 2007, but it always has occupied this quite precarious position, and you know, it's that constant struggle to keep going. So we thought it would be interesting to ask to get a reading about the future of it. So from that, we actually mapped out this exhibition using the order of our reading, so the different characters that came out and the implication for Auto Italia and its future of making was the kind of like the basis that informed the rest of the work.
But I've read as well that there are some readings available, and I don't know, I've seen that.
Louisa Martin, one of the artists who's in this show as well, she's got a video piece in the show, but she's also working this weekend on doing personalised horoscope readings for anyone who would like to email in with their, I think they have to provide their name, place, and time of birth and date of birth, and their most pressing question, and she'll do a personal reading and send that back with, sort of structured as an artwork, so an image and a full reading. There's like this exhibition element, but we didn't want the exhibition to be the kind of like product of this project, especially because we're at a point where it's kind of like just been opened out to all these other artists and the most exciting conversations are kind of happening now. So we thought the most important thing was to kind of get everyone together, bring them up to Liverpool, spend time with everyone at the Royal Standard as well, and other artists in Liverpool talking about these ideas and these questions. So over the weekend we'll have had like a few different workshops led by the artists who also have work in the show. We're going to have like a communal lunch tomorrow, just to like, in an informal way, carry on this research and talk about these ideas. And yeah, all the artists are staying all weekend and getting to see Liverpool as well, and sort of like explore a little bit of what the artist scene is here, and yeah, it's interesting. We were using that in the kind of like advertisement aspect of this project in the editorial instinct and also the billboard in Johannesburg. But what's interesting about those products in that series of work is that they're all models built that you can buy. They're 3D rendered models, and you can just buy them on like Turbo's Grip, the site. So we bought a load of luxury products. We had like Nike trainers, Chanel perfume, Versace perfume, and then a Celine bag, and had them all in this work. And it's like almost this idea of like, is sort of like masquerading as this thing good enough? Like, because it's all fake, but if it can perform this trick, is like that effect good enough? And I mean, that comes back into again like this idea of what performing artists, or like what performing an artist might mean or might be, and like what are these strategies we can use almost to like deflect the attention, you know, like what can you do to like inhabit this role without completely draining yourself performing being an artist, and the slippage between those two things.
Auto Italia works with international artists, and the exhibition has been on display in several locations, such as Nottingham and Johannesburg, from where Cuss Group presenting their work at the Royal Standard are from.
So this work is called Fire to Fire. It's at the very beginning. It's almost like, I felt even with the show, it was like an opportunity for us to kind of test some new ideas. So that's what this work is. It's very, I don't want to go into too much like about what sort of the work is about, but definitely at the moment, this is, yeah, it's a test, you know. I would say it's us like starting to explore, you know, some new ideas as the group, because this is ideas I would say we've been working with for, you know, maybe the last month. It's quite a new direction, I would say, for like our practice. I think before we weren't maybe, we've been making video and stuff, but we haven't quite been looking at, the type of things that we're looking at for, you know, this video specifically, like spirituality, which has been something new that we've kind of looked at, looking at like the charismatic churches in Johannesburg, looking at corporate culture, looking at, I guess, yeah, it's like corporate culture, spirituality. It's a loose, it's like a concept, you know. So it was like maybe taking a concept, you know, something that's quite undefined, and using like spirituality as a way to kind of sell it as like a concrete product. So I would say it's a kind of like, but again, it's at the beginning stages. So I think with this video, it was like creating this video, and then it's something that we can now reflect on and build on. I think also we were obviously invited by Auto Italia, and you know, they've obviously got an idea or a way of thinking, which kind of, you know, is framing their ideas and perhaps the show. But we didn't take that too literally. We kind of, this kind of, yeah, I would say this video fits into it's things that we've like quite recently started to become aware of and become interested in. So it was bringing those together and seeing, in a very loose way, seeing where maybe there were links between what we were thinking about and perhaps what they're thinking about with their work. But again, it's very early in, I would say, this sort of like these ideas that we're starting to explore, and it's definitely at the moment about creating something and then reflecting back on it. I think that's what's, you know, going to be quite interesting in the next like few weeks or few months moving forward, is as kind of, yeah, reflecting on, you know, these ideas. And because now this is So we've started to maybe write a little bit and, you know, do some research. And I think this is the first attempt at kind of visually like translating those ideas. So I think, you know, there's going to be a lot of reflection, you know, post this video.
At the Royal Standard, this exhibition links with kind of our morals and kind of what we try to promote in Liverpool, and that's kind of like artist-led activity and just encouraging kind of art to be produced and critically engage with like the local community. So this was kind of something that we wanted to put on and work with Auto Italia to kind of like co-host with them. I had previously worked with Auto Italia on other projects and met Kate Cooper, who's one of the directors of Auto Italia. So we had kind of had this conversation going, and I was like, wouldn't it be great? And they were like, wouldn't it be great to kind of put this thing on in the Royal Standard? To kind of encourage activity that's artist-led in Liverpool, and kind of see, I know there's a lot of international artists involved in this exhibition, and they proposed a few workshops and different things like that, so we were kind of like, thought it would have been a great kind of exhibition in between our exhibitions that we put on for the studio members and also the public to kind of come here and see a good exhibition that's critically engaged. I think it's kind of like, it's great always to get the artists here and then that creates conversations between people and kind of can create friendships that can last longer than just, you know, one exhibition, or like if you go to the Tate or something where it's kind of some of the artists are dead or, you know, bigger than you're ever going to like be able to meet them. So sometimes it's great to kind of get artists down here who are kind of can be available to speak with, you know, the kind of artists who are at the Royal Standard and in Liverpool and even Manchester and further afield.
That's all this week on Arts Alive. See you next time.